Hello and welcome to Diary of a Common Man. My name is Salim Lalani and thank you for joining me once again. Before we start this particular episode, which is very special for me because we have a very special guest, I would like to thank all my subscribers, all my viewers, and all my supporters who have kept the fire burning inside me for almost 4 years now. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Next is my apologies for last couple of weeks. We haven't posted any videos, but I'm going through some personal crisis which I'm trying to handle as best as I can. And I hope that we will be back to our weekly episodes as soon as we can. Okay, today we have a very special guest. I will not tell you as to why this guest is special, but in the future, not today, in the future, this guest is going to reveal her identity. Yes, so once we know, once the person is going to reveal her identity, we will know how critical it is to the system. But in any case, let's welcome Shai. Uh, Shai, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And before we start, like we always do, please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll ask you a few questions.
Sure. I reside in Canada. I live with my family, and I'm a Gen Xer. And I'm actually really hoping to captivate other Gen Xers and, get them interested and involved in our campaign. I would strongly encourage them to look at your past episodes and really take into consideration what you have said, because whatever you have said and what content you have provided has been up to date, perfect. There's no lies, there's no exaggeration. You have given it to us as it is, like it is. And I'm sure that if more people get to see what you've put out there already, it has to resonate, because we have highly educated people within our community, and it really makes me wonder that why they haven't caught on in all this time. But
Yes.
hopefully now, seeing all this and the proof that you have put forth, the other things that you have working behind the scenes, it seems like we are headed in the right direction, and I just hope that others will join us and be a part
I'm
of
sure.
our team.
I'm sure they will because, see, for the first 3 years, nobody joined me. So people are slowly realizing that they need to open up. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to do something about the cult that we know is abusive. If not for you, if not for anybody else, I encourage people to do something for themselves, for their soul. If they do the right thing and if they speak the truth without identifying themselves, I think they will have done something good for their soul, and something they will leave this world a better place. So yes, Shai, I totally agree with you, and I'm pretty confident that people like you coming on will basically have an impact on the minds of the people, and it will inspire people to join up.
That's the
So thank
goal.
you so much. Thank you. Now let me ask the obvious question: why did you have to leave Ismaili system?
For ever since I can remember as a child, I always questioned the ceremonies of Kane. I questioned why we had to do dua multiple times while we were there, during a midlas and then again in Kane, or where the Karsaji money was going. But I was never allowed to ask those questions. I was always told that that's Maulava's money. We don't ask any questions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then as time went by, I still didn't have that confidence. And for a while, as a teenager, I actually left. I didn't go to Kani and all. Then later on in life, I started again. But still, it didn't sit right with me. To me, the religion was constantly about money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I realized and learned what AgaKhan was doing in his personal life, which again, we're told that's not our business. He's our spiritual leader. We don't worry about his physical life. But how can a person with that type of reputation be considered as a god?
Correct.
Let alone a spiritual leader, just God. Like, come on. Like, there has to be some principles, there has to be respect. But when you have access to all these things, see, this is why everybody's now coming into this, finding out because we have access to the internet, we have access to all this information. We can just, it's at our fingertips, right?
Correct.
We have seen him in his short trunks on a yacht. We've seen his daughter smoking. Did we ever expect to see these kind of things? No,
No. No.
right?
Yeah, you're right. If you are a normal person like you and me,
Mhm.
and if we smoke and drink in public, that can be accepted, but not when you are God. If you
Exactly.
are God, then you're supposed to behave like God, or you don't behave, or you don't call yourself God.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, Ismailis, can I ask you? You said that you started asking questions. Who did you ask?
I asked the leaders. In fact, I even had an opportunity to speak to Abu Ali. But
Yeah.
as I asked the question, where does the money go? I got interrupted by my mom, and she said, "No, no, we don't ask these questions." So he didn't bother to answer me. I was about 7 years old, maybe at that time. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah, so that's how long I've had these questions. I've asked mission class teachers and been given ridiculous answers, saying
Yes.
that because you're born a smiley, you're now the best human being that you can ever be. After a smiley, you go to heaven. There's nothing else, you know. I mean, a smiley religion class teachers telling you this when you're 8, 9, 10. How do you how do you accept that? How do you perceive it? And then what do you do with it?
Yeah. This is heavy-handed indoctrination. Um, but see what the teacher said,
Mm-hmm,
that you are the best of the creations because you are born an Ismaili. Now,
mm-hmm,
that is basically saying everybody else is inferior to you. My question is that what makes us so superior as human beings? We all are one, and
mm-hmm,
this is not pluralism. It is exclusive. It is no, it is basically some kind of a fantastical world that we are living in. That we are superior and they are not.
mm-hmm.
Okay. So no, this it doesn't make any sense at all. And what I basically have a problem with is that if you are going to give answers like that, why don't you come in public and answer those questions?
Yes, exactly. But back in the day when we were younger, they thought that they could say anything and we had no way to really back it up, right? We were so
Correct.
young at the time. So, and there was no way to go on the internet or have a look and, get
Yeah,
our
correct.
resources and our
Correct.
answers.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
And
they
even
thought
if
that
you were, yeah, sorry, say again.
they just thought that they could get away with saying whatever they felt like saying at that moment. That's how
Exactly.
I felt, right?
Exactly. See, for last 3 years, I have been 4 years, I have been saying this in almost every episode that
Mm-hmm.
look, come and say the same things that you say in Jamaat Khana, say
Mhm.
it in public. Okay, that's how we will know that you have some credibility. But so far, not one person has come forward, and they say there are millions of people, millions of Ismailis around the world. Not one person, not one missionary, not one leader, and not AgaKhan himself
Mhm.
has come forward to answer the questions. And that in itself is a testimony that they are fraudulent by nature.
Mhm.
So, okay. So you as a child had questions
Mhm.
and you were never satisfied. But then what happened along the way which made you leave the system?
Because it just made me so angry, to be honest. Like, because everything revolves around money, and I was just getting so frustrated.
Yeah.
Because you weren't getting any answers, but they were ready, willing, and able to collect your money. They were right there,
Yeah.
to collect it. They had no issue collecting it, right?
Yep.
But they don't want to tell us anything. Some of the rituals don't make sense. For example, you go to Khani for a madlas, you do dua in a madlas. Madlas is over, you go back to Khani, again you have to do dua. Why? The reason I was given, oh, because you're forgiving your sins from that midlas. What sense does that make? How many times do you go and call yourself a sinner from head to toe in one day? 3 times it would probably be if you go to Khani in the morning as well, isn't it?
It is
So
ridiculous. Yeah.
it's not
Ridiculous.
logical when you really sit down and think about it, right? And I'm not some very highly educated person who has, master degrees and all that. No, I am educated, yes, but not that. I didn't go to Harvard or Princeton, okay? And I can figure it out. It makes sense. It's logical, right?
Correct.
So
Correct. Absolutely.
why this is those educated people, why doesn't it sink into them? Why do they ignore what's happening in his own life? It's all a part and parcel, right? You can't separate the two.
They can't. They can't. See, this is what indoctrination does. It completely shuts your mind in relation to that particular part of your life.
Huh.
So, as a child, when you are given that information that you do not question, you do not question.
Huh.
If you are indoctrinated to believe that your money is Mollah's money, you give and you don't ask. You don't ask when you grow up. And if anybody asks, then that is considered not, it's not considered to be good.
Right.
So that's how indoctrination works. It is actually child abuse. Indoctrination is child abuse that is going on in Jamaat Khana on every single day. In child, in normal child abuse, we physically abuse the child
Mm-hmm.
or whoever does it. In indoctrination, you are mentally abusing that child and you're damaging that child for the rest of their life
Mm-hmm.
because that child cannot think for themselves anymore
Right.
in relation to that aspect. Okay, in relation to the religious aspect, if you
Mm-hmm.
are indoctrinated as a politician, you will become indoctrinated and you will stick to your ideology there. You will
Mm-hmm.
be fine with other things in life, but with politics you will be indoctrinated and you will have very firm cemented ideas. That's how indoctrination works. That's why they take the children when they are young to the night school and then they feed them repeatedly information that is absolute garbage.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. And unfortunately, you and me both, and all the Ismailis were victims of that.
That's right.
It's lucky that you and me have realized during our lives that we are being abused.
Yes, and I hope and really hope that others will join us speak out. They can, just, you don't even have to come and show yourself, right? You
Correct.
don't have to show your face. You can just come and have a discussion with us. If you have any questions, Salim Bhai is highly, highly educated and he knows a lot. He has a lot of answers. So even if you just have questions, you're more than welcome to join us at any
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that's
Anytime.
good. Good. Yeah, that's very important. Okay, so then you were not happy with the answers that you were getting, and you were not happy with the system. But what actually broke the camel's back? When did you leave and why?
Well, first of all, it was the money thing. Then that really put me off. Secondly, I used to go to Kane one day a year that was important to me. And I stopped doing that as well because, I mean, just okay, let me give you an example about Jagannath, for example. Let's look at it. How many times do you have to do dua in that one night? You do chanta on that night, but when you do chanta on that night, you are told what amount of money to pay for the chanta in order to um, clear your sins,
Yes,
right? Apart, like it's like a package deal kind of thing. If you pay $5.99, you get X amount. You get 5 duas. If you pay $10.99, you might get 10 duas. You know,
yes.
and
So
how
you're saying that spiritual services are commercialized.
exactly? How can that be legitimate? You tell me, right? And on top of that, nobody can give you any answers,
They
right?
don't have the answer. They
So
don't have the answer, and that is why they are hiding.
yeah, and that's why, like, I decided, and then of course I did my own research, and I found out all the stuff that AgaKhan and his family have been doing behind the scenes, which I didn't know about before. But when I did actually go and did my research, I found all that information, and there's absolutely no way that this man is any type of god. There's absolutely no way. He's a
Did you
person just like us.
exactly? Actually, worse than us,
Yeah.
because we don't loot other people. We don't make fools out of other people for our benefits. We may have our faults.
Hmm.
We are not perfect. Nobody is
No.
perfect.
Hmm.
Okay, and we can't expect Aga Khan to be perfect. But what I am saying is that this person is uh, doing and looting people on a large scale, particularly the poor people around the world.
Hmm.
What kind of a person is that? What kind of God is that? The,
Exactly.
the God should be giving. In Hinduism, they call Devta. The reason why they are called Devta is because they give. Okay,
Hmm.
they don't take, they give. So, what kind of God is this who actually takes money from all? Uh, he makes excuses one after another to draw money out of his murids.
Hmm.
And the murids are programmed, just like a computer program, to give money and not question.
Yes.
How solid is this?
I mean, it's not like they don't collect enough money from Kane. They also then ask for donations for when they want to build a school or a university, sorry, or whatever, hospital, and then
Yeah,
people donate. So it's not even the money that they're collecting from Kane. The Karsaji money is not going to those things. They further ask for more donations for those kind of things as well, right?
correct.
So
And then Aga Khan gets the credit for that. So
yeah.
Jamaat basically gives the donation. They make a school or hospital or what have you, but the name is Aga Khan Hospital.
Hmm.
Okay, but that is not all. Then they will go in the commercial world out there, and they'll get donations from there. They'll get donations from the governments. They'll get donations from large companies.
Hmm.
fooling them that they are humanitarian, but but they are not, because their hospitals are not for the poor.
Exactly.
The schools are not for the poor.
No.
So, what did you do with the money that was given to you by the Murids, number one,
Hmm.
then by the global public? What did you do with it? There's
I
no accountability.
I have an answer for you there. He spent it on horses and divorces.
Correct. Exactly
That's
right.
where the money went.
That's where the money went.
Yes.
Horses, divorces, and a few other things, but they come in millions. Like Bega Minara's was 50 million pounds.
Right.
Okay, now that kind of money, a murid of Hazar Imam, they have not even dreamed of that kind of money. They haven't seen that kind of money. 50 million pounds
Uh-huh.
just because he wanted to divorce, sorry, just because he was committing adultery and she wanted to divorce him.
Uh-huh.
Where does this money go? You are right. It goes to divorces and buying horses.
Right.
And here people are struggling to pay the mortgage.
Yes. And people, I know a family who refused their young children to go to activities after school because they're in one fourth, and the economy, the way that it is right now, couldn't afford to send the two kids for after school programs because they're
Yeah,
in one fourth. So they have to pay that one fourth, and the kids get left out of their activities because they couldn't afford both.
yeah,
What
yeah.
nonsense. Why don't you spend that money on your children?
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely.
Why, like, I had a chat with them and I tried to explain it, but Ismailis are difficult sometimes to convince, but I know they are smart. I'm sure a lot of people have caught on. Maybe they don't want to say anything or come out or what have you, but I really think that, especially Gen Xers, you have your children on one end, you have your parents on the other hand, you're in the middle. So you have a lot of power right now. You
Yeah,
have the power to do that, um, checking, for your own resources, through your own resources, finding all the information that you can. Don't just take it from Salim Bai's videos or from anybody talking. Do the actual research. See
yeah,
everything that's on the internet. And I'm sure that you will make the right decision once you have read and seen everything that's online.
yeah.
And by the way, it's not AI. It's all legit. It's been on for a very long time. It's not something that's been put up yesterday or day before. So it is legit information,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. And it can be verified. Like, say, for example, if you watch my videos and you pick up some information that this is fraud, you can, what I'm saying, I'm backing it up. You can go to Jamaat Khana and basically witness it yourself.
Right.
You don't have to take my word for it.
Mhm.
Verify it. Satisfy yourself that what I am saying is true. And if I'm not saying something that is, if I'm not saying the truth, then come. I'm here, sitting here. Every week I come here and take me to task.
Mhm.
Keep me accountable. But nobody
Yes.
is coming forward. And I'm sitting here. Your missionaries are hiding. Your imam is hiding. What does that mean? And this man, who is a common man, okay, with very common intelligence and very common resources, okay, he is sitting here. Is he credible or is your imam credible? Is he credible or your missionary is credible? You decide.
If they'll return your calls or if you can actually speak to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the look, is there anything else on your agenda that you'd like to talk about?
So there was also during Golden Jubilee, Hazrat Imam, when he came to Canada, I don't know if he said it in other places or not, but in one of his fermans, he said that our dua was going to change. There would be more of Quran involved in Ismailism going forward, and that was supposed to happen soon. That never happened. In all these years, he's never changed the dua or brought in the Quran. Why are they so afraid of the Quran? Because there's all the answers in there?
Because they're afraid of the Quran because their practices are non-Islamic. See, Quran is saying one thing, and
Mm-hmm.
they practice the opposite in the Jamaat Khana. That's the problem. Like even if they should change the dua, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's say they put more ayats from the Quran in the dua. Let's say they do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's still not going to solve the problem because the fundamentals need to be corrected, and the fundamental is the concept of Tawheed.
Mm-hmm.
Tawheed is there is only one Allah.
Mm-hmm.
La ilaha illallah. There is no God but God. Now the problem is that in Islam there is only one God, and here we have a human God.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as the human God is present on this earth,
Mm-hmm.
La ilaha illallah cannot work.
Mm-hmm.
So they doesn't matter what they do with the Quran, whether they put more ayats in the dua or they remove the dua completely and begin reciting the Quran. It doesn't make. It's not going to solve the problem.
No,
As
but
long as Hazar Imam, as long as they remove the
mm-hmm.
ginans which are basically claiming that Imam is not only Allah, but he is Hindu god Vishnu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is a no-no in Islam. You can't do that.
Right.
Okay, so for Aga Khan to make Ismailism Islamic, he will have to first deal with the Ginans.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, remove them completely, which
Mm-hmm.
he is not going to do. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, he encourages the Quran. He promotes the Quran. He promotes the Ginans as wonderful tradition.
Mm-hmm.
He approves it. He approves it, saying that I am God, because Ginans are saying he is God. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
if that is going to happen, you can't be Islamic. You can't be Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem.
Right. The reason I was bringing it up was just to prove another lie. That
Yeah.
something that was
Okay.
said that was going to be done, but what didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So again, we're back to do as I say, not as I do, right? His
Yeah.
moments are supposed to live a very low life, right? They shouldn't
Yes.
be engaging in a lot of money, parties, whatever. Be calm, be religious, go to khane, pay your dasun, that kind of thing. Doesn't encourage social activities much,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
So again, it's do as I say, not as I do.
Not as I do. I think this is something Sultan Muhammad Shah used to say
Mm-hmm.
that do as I say, not as I do.
In a Furman,
Uh,
right?
in a Farman, yeah.
Yes.
In fact, he even said that you don't have to use your intelligence. Imam's intelligence is divine, so you just follow the Imam. Don't use your intelligence. And Hazar Imam talks about intellectual tradition in Ismailism.
Hmm.
What intellect are you talking about when your own grandfather said, do not use your intelligence? How ridiculous is that? Can you imagine any parent telling their children not to use their intelligence?
Unbelievable. Uncomprehendable.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How you would encourage your children to use your intellect,
Right.
which is a divine gift to all
Yes.
human beings. Okay, and here we have the Imam discouraging us from using the intellect.
Because he knew that once we have all our knowledge, they are going to be in trouble. So he wanted us to
Correct,
keep
correct,
away. Right?
correct. Once we use the intelligence, then he goes. He's finished.
Uh huh.
He knows that. So
Yeah.
he's abusing us, and he is exactly like abusing a child and telling the child that don't tell anything what happened between us.
Hmm.
Okay? This is abuse, nothing else but abuse. And
Yes.
educated people, as you said earlier,
Hmm.
educated people don't realize this, and that is a shame.
Yes. And we like, even like, as I said, I was just trying to make a point about something that was said that was going to happen and didn't happen. But
So thank you, Shai, for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts and your views and encouraging people to open up, speak up. This is a historical time. We have the system uh, where we want them. And thank you so much once again. I appreciate. Do you want to make any final comments before we close the episode?
yes, actually, I had one other issue that I wanted to bring forward.
Yeah.
And that is that, do you think the future generations are going to agree and be a part of the system without question? Our new
No.
generation, that won't sit well with them, right? If they're not answered their questions.
No, no. See, this system is standing on its last legs, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you why. This, this is going back when I was an Ismaili in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Around 2010, I noticed that young people started to move away from Jamaat Khana in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And we all wondered as to why wouldn't the young people come to Jamaat Khana anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And the Tariqa board was very concerned about it also.
Mm-hmm.
Then we learned that young people do not subscribe to the idiotic concepts of Ismaili Jamaat Khana.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, idiotic religious concepts. They also did not subscribe to the backbiting culture in the Jamaat Khana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They did not subscribe to the financial fraud that was going on. And they could see right through it. We couldn't. The
Mm-hmm.
young people could.
Yes.
And that's why they left without saying a word.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't ruffle any feathers, but they left.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they
Now,
realize.
they realized it. They're very intelligent, and because, see, they're born in the internet age, information age.
Right.
So they are not indoctrinated the way we were when we were children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a vision that penetrates the system through and through.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't subscribe now. As the time is moving forward and more information is coming, more youngsters are basically realizing that more youngsters are not subscribing to the system. And that is why in the Jamaat Khanas, you will see youngsters only on Khushali days or on
Mm-hmm.
Chandrat
Mm-hmm.
for social purposes.
Right.
Okay. Otherwise, they are not going to spend money on Mola Bapa the way we idiots did in our
Right.
times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, because once these idiots are going to die like me, okay, once this Gen X is going to pass on and the
Mm-hmm.
baby boomers are going to pass on, they who's the future of tomorrow is the young people, Gen Y.
Right.
And Gen Y does not subscribe to this madness. So if they don't subscribe, they don't come to Khane. If
Mm-hmm.
they don't come to Khane, they don't give money. And if they
Mm-hmm.
don't give money, what is the point of running the Khane?
Right.
So the Khane is doomed anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But what we are doing is between now and then, I think we have another 25 years before Gen X or baby boomers pass on. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
We have another 25 years. So the reason for our campaign is to make sure that the people don't suffer for next 25 years.
True.
That is the point.
Yes. And one very simple basic point is that Aga Khan himself is sick currently, right?
Yeah.
He can't help himself. How is he going to help other people?
Ya
Isn't that
Ali
common
ya Azar
sense?
Imam, tu asaji muskil asan kar. Now
Yes.
he can't even resolve his own difficulties.
Right.
And here we are praying to him to resolve our difficulties.
Right.
What sense does it make?
Exactly.
If and no wonder they don't come in the public because they know once they come in the public, people are going to laugh at them.
Mm.
They are going to be ridiculed. In fact, they are being ridiculed right now.
Yes.
After all these things are coming out on the internet,
Uh-huh.
okay, people are being laughed at and they don't want to be known as Ismailis anymore.
Yes.
Okay. The
Uh-huh.
only way they will basically let themselves known is when they're doing the AKDN work. Because AKDN so far has made an impression in the minds of the people around the world that they are humanitarians. And that scam also will come out in due course.
Uh-huh.
So
Everything
yeah,
has its time and a place, and it's all going to set up line by
correct.
line, and it's going to flow.
This the process of the what's the word I'm looking for? The process of decomposition of
Uh-huh.
this system
Uh-huh.
has started.
Uh-huh.
It has started decomposing. Okay,
Uh-huh.
young people are not coming. More and more people are not paying money. They are not showing up in public. They are in hiding right now. That these are all signs that they are actually going to decompose and decay in the months and years to come.
Oh,
And
that,
I'm looking forward to it.
so am I. I'm looking so forward to that day. I just hope that Ismailis, especially seniors, they can handle it well. I do have a concern that how this is going to affect them, but I mean we're doing a project on the whole. We can't segment different groups of people,
Yeah,
but that is a concern that I do have, and hopefully, um, by the time we get to our end goal, we can, hopefully get something in place for them, or just so that they're not taken by shock and go through more health issues than they already have to. I'm sure they've been through a lot, and
yes.
some don't even have like many family around. Some of them are alone, so their only outlet was going to Kane, right?
Yeah, but the good news is that not they are not technologically savvy people, so they don't listen to YouTube channels or social
Yes.
media. So they will die ignorant and blissfully ignorant. They'll die. Okay, so I don't think they'll suffer. Our target is Gen X's, Gen Y's. These are the people who should basically change themselves right now.
Uh-huh.
Not the older people. We'll leave the older people alone. Let
Uh-huh.
them believe what they believe. They don't matter from the campaign's perspective anyway.
Mm.
Lastly, Shai, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your valuable experience and your thoughts. And we hope that you will continue to come to the shows and express your views and encourage other people. Thank you so much.
I definitely will, and that's why the way I have done my name is especially to make people, have a thought in their mind. My name is
Yes,
Shai, but
yes,
it's see how if you break it up in two syllables, it's
yes,
why. So why means why are we keeping quiet? Now is our
yes,
time to talk. Now we have the information. Now we need
yes,
to get together and try to get back what we've lost, right? Not in terms of in money form, but in terms of our faith, maybe.
yes, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Well said. So thanks once again, Shai. Appreciate it. And we look forward to talking to you in the future.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Guys, before we go, thank you once again. If you like the show, if you like the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And lastly, always remember, give to the poor, not to AgaKhan. Thank you. See you next time. Bye bye.